Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We decided to call call of you together because we are getting a lot of questions about AC issues that have been happening across our district. What I can tell you overall, we actually see less work orders this year than we did last year and in previous years. The challenge we're seeing right now is that because of the extreme heat this summer, I've been here now. This is my 5th summer. This is the San Antonio's hot, but this has been the summer where I've seen more days of 105 and staying at 105 for a much longer time. They're taxing our systems in such a way where in the past we're able to to go in and fix things and we get them up and running within hours. It's taking us longer now. And so because of that, one of the things that we're doing is we're going to be deploying 144 mobile AC units into the classrooms. Initially we had fans because again, most of the time we've been able to get the air up and running in these classrooms within a few hours. Because we're not seeing that enough, or we're seeing other classrooms break down, we said, let's just have these 144 units to take care of these issues across the district. We did have also this year in some of our buildings that are going through construction, a breakdown that was a little bit larger. So for example, at Fox Tech, we have our 9th through 12th graders that right now we're using San Antonio College because some parts that just were so outdated and we needed to get them actually made. That took a couple of days. The good news is those parts are already being installed as we speak. We actually think that we're gonna, just to be safe, we're gonna still have the children at SAC tomorrow, but they'll definitely be back by Friday. So that's also a little bit different that we didn't see last year. And again, what we're seeing, like I said, is the system just get taxed significantly just because of the extreme heat. We are the instructions we're giving to our principals is to ensure that kids are moved and staff are moved when the room is too hot to areas that are cooler. One of the complexities in our district is we have over 200 buildings. Hundreds of AC systems. Imagine like in your house, some houses that are large might have multiple AC systems. That's how our buildings are set up. And so part of the challenge is you might have 3 rooms that that are fine one day, and then you have another room that goes off the next day. I've been myself driving to the schools and just checking in on the staff. Things have gotten better each day, but again, for us, better is not good enough. One hot room is just too much for us, and that's why we're deploying these AC units. I'm going to ask Mr. Burrows to just give you a bigger update on some of the bigger projects, and then we'll be happy to take your questions.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So as Mr. Martinez indicated, we have had some campuses, and because of the extreme heat and age of our systems, they've just really been taxed. So as an example, Fox Tech, where we had to relocate some students, we are seeing progress in terms of that system back up and running, but we did have a failure of the handling system there, and it's 1972 system. We had to actually have the machine ready from that in terms of being able to deliver chilled water system and an improvement. However, we're still deploying some mobile on high school this morning, as well as RC approval walk the pool and the class took measures and saw the difference from yesterday to Jefferson in that campus, as well as in this campus. This building is JT Brass, some attack on our system, and on those the construction. So we are replacing the mechanical and definitely need. So we certainly see that now, and from those out systems being taxed, and it's going to be a major improvement of those systems in the current.
So interesting campuses, not any higher than we've had in previous. And in some camp, for example, we talked about saying class. So for example, I was at Twain Dual Language Academy. They have 22 active classrooms, and we had about challenges in 4 to 6. And so for us, it's a subset of each of the buildings. again, nothing different than we've seen in the past. The difference, though, is we're usually able to get them up and running within hours. It's taking us a longer time frame. And so because of that, we said, let's have these mobile units available, and we're going to keep them at the schools in case other classrooms go off. It is really a symptom of the bigger problem. We have some of the most oldest, outdated systems in the entire county. In fact, I'll give you an example. We would have had even more issues. We replaced about 11 chillers over the last year. There were chillers that were put in back in 1990. I mean, a chiller's lifespan is no more than 10 or 15 years. And I'm not an expert, but do the math. They were put back in 1990, and we replaced those chillers. Those schools, actually, we haven't had as many issues. Those schools were constantly breaking down. And so that's why we've even seen a decline in work orders. But again, because of the stronger heat, it's taxing the system a lot longer than we'd like. Really, the bigger need, it just confirms to me, and it's something that we've discussed with our board, really the bigger need for us to, as we look at a future bond, to completely change these systems. Because I'll tell you, I use the analogy of a used car. First your battery goes out, right? And then your car, your car's not working. You change the battery. The next day it's the alternator. Well, guess what? Your car's not working again. You change the alternator. Then it's the starter. In all three scenarios, the car doesn't start. It doesn't matter for the driver what the reason is. That's what we're seeing. And really what the extreme heat is doing is just exposing those kind of issues in our systems, which we have known. But again, for us, it just makes us that much determined to make sure we have a long-term fix for them. But in the meantime, our priority is the safety of the children and our staff and their comfort. And like I said, schools, and I'll tell you, I cannot be more complimentary of our students and our staff. They're being patient with us. And like I said, it's gotten better every day. It was probably the worst that we saw was in the first day of school. It's gotten better each day, again, but still one classroom that's too hot, it's still too much for us.
Is there any particular reason why parents weren't notified about the situation? A lot of them found out through their students, the issues that were going on. And what's your message for those who are frustrated with the response?
Yeah. So definitely, because again, in the past, we were able to get these rooms up and running within the day. It's been non-issues. And so what I'm asking our principals now is just to keep our parents more in the loop. So for example, today, we're going to start giving updates to our parents on a daily basis. This is how many classrooms we're still struggling with in our school. Because I don't want our parents to think that it's the entire building. We're not really seeing that except for a few cases like Fox Tech, and there we have been informing the parents. So what we're going to do is just make sure that all of our schools that have these issues, that they're updating the parents on a regular basis so that our parents don't find out after the fact. So that is something we're putting in place today. But again, no excuse for it, but it's just that, this has been the first time in my 4 years that I haven't seen these issues get fixed within the same day or within 12 hours. And our technicians are working literally overnight to fix these issues. But like I said, it's like that car analogy. Something breaks down, and then they're called in the next day because another part fell apart. And so, we're just, and it's really, again, it's the heat is just taxing the systems that much.
And were these AC systems checked prior to school starting to check their capacity to make sure that prevention methods like this could have happened before these kids got in to the classroom?
Right, great question. So yes, throughout the summer there was work that was occurring across the district in terms of changing filters, cleaning coils, a number of preventive measures that could be taken. And unfortunately, again, using Fox Tech as an example, system was running. We had it isolated to one particular area within the building, and then something happened, the shaft bent, that then stressed other parts of the system. So it's kind of like a domino effect. But yes, those systems were checked throughout the summer when there was opportunity for downtime to do preventive maintenance.
And there were no problems except for at Fox Tech at these other campuses up until the first day of school.
Well, there are work orders that are in the system in terms of things that there may be a room that's down or a motor that needs to be changed or a compressor, and so those are ongoing work orders.
So there were some work orders in place prior to school starting that hadn't been completed.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classrooms without AC.
Yeah. So my experience has been, since I've been here 4 years, we've had AC issues almost every day of the year. This is San Antonio, and these are very old buildings, and we had issues over the summer. We had issues even last spring. The biggest difference that I saw, but again, overall, when I look at all the overall numbers, they're actually less than what I've seen in the past. But the challenge now is, as we get into right now in August, and this is where we're really seeing it is in August, it's taking a lot longer for us to get the systems up. That is the piece that's brand new for us, which again, really have forced us, and it's a good thing, to make sure we have these short-term solutions with the portable units, because I think this is going to continue, and I don't want to fight, the chance that it's going to continue to take us a while to get these systems up and running, or that we're going to have other breakdowns within each of these old systems.
I know a lot of the campuses that have been affected had AC improvements scheduled for the 2016 bond. Will this be taken care of, or will that one be expedited because of these current issues?
Right. So, if I'm understanding your question correctly, so in the 2016 bond, there are HVAC systems that are being addressed. Yes, that is true, and to the degree that we're able to expedite that work, we will be able to. I think, as you're probably aware, there are multiple phases at all of our campuses. All of our campuses are currently occupied, and so we're only able to take down certain portions of the building at a time, while we have other components of the building running. And so, to the degree we are able to expedite the change out of those systems, we will. That'll take some coordination between the architect and the contractors and the team to be able to see how we might be able to achieve that without impacting the school negatively.
Would you guys be able to provide an exact number as far as the current status on how many classrooms are needing improvements, how many buildings, like what's the situation?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we're actually collecting that information on a regular basis from our principals. So to give you an example, one of the procedures we put in place is that by 11 o'clock, our principals, we have this process where they report their enrollment, because we want to make sure we know how, make sure our class sizes are appropriate. So they're now reporting how many classrooms are having AC issues. So that process started today. And so that's how we know there's about 40 schools. The 144 portable AC systems right now are meeting the needs for those schools. We're ready to get more if we need to. Our hope is that there'll be less, but we're actually still going to keep those portable systems active to make sure in case other classrooms go down. So, to give you context, we have over 3,000 active classrooms every single school day, and we started our school year this week. And so again, but one is too many. And then what we're really keeping attention is the bigger campuses like Fox Tech, because those issues we had whole floors, and so those are the ones we're making sure that they're expedited, because in some cases they don't have enough space to move the children. Most of our schools, I will tell you, about 90% of them have spaces to move children to. Still not ideal, again, because we want our teachers to be able to just focus on teaching and not having to move children around throughout the day.
Are all 144 of those mobile units being utilized, or is it
Yes,
maybe
ma'am.
per classroom? Like, how do you guys have
So,
that?
so we have because again we're getting now lists. Principals are giving us number of classrooms. We're deploying them based on that, and we are working with our contractors to have more available in case that need arises. And so for us right now, it is based on the need. But like I said, even if say the numbers go down to 50, I'm still going to keep those 144 active, just to make, especially through the month of August, because now that I've been here 5 summers, I know better about the month of August, and so I want to make sure that again that we have, that I don't have children moving, 2 weeks from now from one classroom to another.
You mentioned that the work orders were actually lower than years previously. About how many work orders have you seen with AC issues?
Yeah, so we have on average, so just to give you context, 4 years ago we were well over 300 that were coming throughout the summer and through the first week of school. We're now closer to 200. It sounds like a lot, but keep in mind, we have over 3,000 active classrooms. We have, we have hundreds of AC systems, and so we have 200 buildings. And so it's the scale is very large, and we've seen the number decline. Like I said, the biggest difference is even though we're seeing a decline, the issues are persisting longer, and that is what we want to tackle. And again, as I said, the long-term fix is we just got to replace these systems. We're doing short-term fixes. When it gets to 105, we're seeing that these systems can't handle it.
Are there any other measures being taken besides the mobile AC units that schools are taking to make sure these kids keep cool?
So again, priority for us is safety for the children, comfort for the staff. So the first thing is every school now has a backup plan. So for example, when I was at Twain today, they're lucky that they have extra classrooms. So now they're setting up some of those extra classrooms as backups in case those 4 to 6 classrooms don't get better. And now again, we now are deploying the AC units, so that's going to help them as well. But each of the schools now is developing backups. Some of our larger schools, for example, they're using the cafeterias, they're using the gyms, and again, kudos to our kids and to our teachers. Instruction is happening, not ideal though. And so for us, what we are also making sure is that our schools have a detailed update on when we expect the systems to be up and running. So Fox Tech, for example, that's why we know it'll be up and running, by tomorrow. We're still not going to take a chance. We'll still give it a day to make sure that we test everything and make sure that the rooms are where they need to be, then we'll bring the children back.
How is this affecting student learning in the first couple days of school?
You know, Emily, like I said, I just been so impressed with our staff and our students. I will tell you though, I walk into classrooms and our students will look at me and say, you know, it's hard. I said, I know, guys, we're working on it. But our staff and students and our school leaders have been so patient with us. So I mean, I feel blessed. I mean, again, for me though, you know, and I'll tell you, even some of our parents who've grown up in San Antonio, they'll say, well, we've had AC issues since I can remember, back in the 50s and 60s. I still feel, you know, and this is the conversation we have with our trustees, we got to fix this. I mean, I'm sorry. I have 2 children in our district. I, as a parent, I wouldn't want my children to be, even if it was 1 day or 2 hours, to be in a hot room. And so for us, you know, we got to have a long-term fix. We'll get through this year for sure. And then, you know, I'm confident of that. We've done it in previous years. But the conversation we're going to have later in the fall is, let's have a long-term fix. And that's what Mr. Burrows is actually going to put together. He's actually going to have a diagnostic of every one of the schools, where we had the issues, where do we already have work in progress to replace the systems, and where we don't. And I think, again, this is something we want to share with our community, because it is going to be part of the conversation for a future bond.
Do you have a dollar amount as far as what it's cost you guys to get these problems adapted or adjusted starting this school year?
We don't have a dollar amount because it's mainly been staff, but they've been working around the clock. We know right now, like for example, the units that we're getting, the average cost is about $700 per unit. We just buy them just to have them, you know, because they're cheaper to buy actually than to rent. But other than that, right now it's mostly staff that's been handling the issues. I can't quantify though the amount of frustration that you know, teachers and staff have had though, and that's a much. But the costs are not high. But again, for me, it's gonna get high if we don't have control of it. And right now, I feel like we have control of it. But again, the long-term fix is still what we're gonna need to put in place.
Is there a message to the parents? You said you feel it yourselves of wanting to pull their kids out of these conditions because they're too uncomfortable, they're distracted. Is there a message for those who are skipping school because of this?
Yeah, I mean, please, I would ask parents, work with their principals. Our principals are getting real-time information from our staff. I mean, I've been to schools, you know, we have staff there at almost every school that either is there or literally calling in on the hour. And so, and now, like I said, we're now tracking every one of these issues to make sure we know a resolution date. And so I would ask parents, check with your principal, you know, before you make a decision. You know, what I love is, and this is what I'm seeing, I mean, the children are happy to be back in our schools. They're happy to see their friends. Our teachers have a lot of high energy. And so for us, you know, just, again, it's just unfortunate that we have, you know, these issues at these 100+ classrooms. Again, one is too many, but we're on path to make sure we get those fixed.
You said 100+ classrooms that are doing it?
Well, we have 144 deployed units, so that gives you a sense of, you know, of the units that we have right now out there. And like I said, those numbers are going to go down every day. I still want to make sure we have those units available in case we have other issues that come up during the month of August.
And about how many units would you say go into a classroom?
So it's 1 unit per classroom. So each unit can handle 600 square feet, and so that's big enough for a classroom. And up to this point, we were using fans because, again, the goal was, give us a couple hours, we'll get it up and running. Again, it's taking more than a couple hours in some cases.
¿Nos puedes hablar en español?
Sí, señor.
Háblanos acerca de lo que que estamos aquí.
Sí, tenemos ahorita tenemos más de 100 salones ahorita que estamos teniendo problemas con el aire acondicionado. Así que tenemos salones que están muy calientes. Nuestros directores están moviendo a los niños en lugares donde están más seguros, pero al mismo tiempo estamos mirando cada escuela para tener un plan para cada escuela para resolver el problema. Y quiero que nuestros padres nomás tengan paciencia porque este verano ha estado más caliente que antes veranos. Pero para mí lo más importante es queremos que los niños estén seguros, pero estamos poniendo mobile AC units. 144 tenemos para ayudar a los salones y hoy los estamos poniendo en los salones. Ahorita que estamos hablando, lo están poniendo en los salones.
¿Los técnicos están trabajando también a resolver?
Sí, tenemos nuestro personal que están trabajando las 24 horas al día para arreglar estas cosas. Lo que está pasando este verano, porque está tan caliente, antes pudimos resolver los problemas entre horas. Pero ahora en unos ejemplos nos están durando más de un día. Y para mí eso me preocupa mucho porque no quiero que nuestros niños no sean, y nuestros maestros que no estén cómodos. Así que por eso estamos poniendo los portable AC units en los salones para tener el tiempo para resolver el problema.
¿Cuál es el problema? ¿Son muy viejos las unidades?
Tenemos, en este distrito tenemos los sistemas más viejos de todos los distritos en el condado. Y tenemos ahorita unos edificios que estamos cambiando, pero vamos a poner una solución más, porque tenemos estos sistemas que están muy viejos, y ahorita con el verano que hemos tenido, tenemos más problemas este año con esos sistemas.
¿Aproximadamente cuántos salones no tienen aire y más o menos cuándo crees que se arregle el problema?
Como casi 100, pero tenemos como 144 sistemas de ISIS y los tenemos en todos los salones ahorita que estamos hablando, ahorita lo están metiendo en los salones, y si necesitamos más, vamos a obtener más.
Sé que ya lo dijiste, pero mensaje para los papás otra vez.
Que nomás tengan paciencia, que trabajen con su director. Cada día vamos a dar un mensaje a los padres para decirles si tenemos problemas en esa escuela, con tus salones, pero que tengan la paciencia, porque estamos ahorita, los vamos a arreglar. Pero ahorita que está tan caliente este verano, es algo que tenemos que trabajar juntos para resolver.
¿Qué inversión representa el utilizar estas unidades móviles de ESI para el distrito?
Cada una cuesta como $700. Yo creo que los vamos a comprar porque está más barato para comprarlos en lugar de rentarlos. Entonces, pero son $700 cada uno.